first thing that I am going to need from you here today is a volunteer to join me on stage. I have 17 minutes left for my talk. The first thing I need, okay, there you go. Let's clap our hands for our volunteer over here. And we're going to wait for him to come up on stage. But as he is coming up on stage, I'd like you to take a look and examine. Bless you, sir. Bless you, and thank you for coming up on stage. I will get to you in a few moments, but please stay here, sir. Let's give a huge round of applause for Michael, please, for joining me on stage. But really, while I was asking you to volunteer on stage, I'd like you to pay attention to your immediate reaction when I asked for a volunteer to come up on stage. If you were in my place right now, you would have seen nothing but fear in your eyes. And in the first few moments, not Michael, good for Michael, good that there are people like Michael, but there was first a look of anticipation when I came up on stage. People were saying, oh, finally we're starting. Hey, it's Gabe first. But the moment I said I need a volunteer, it turned into fear. It turned into an avoidance of eye contact. You wouldn't even meet my gaze. Immediately, I became not your friend who will share thoughts and ideas with you, but immediately you made me into an enemy and in your mind said that, oh my God, he's going to put me on stage. Oh my God, he is going to make me look like a fool. Oh my God, get me out of here. How many of you felt that way? Very good, congratulations. That is the natural response. And actually, what that is called is a defense mechanism. And the defense mechanism always comes up. I'll get to you, Michael. I'm making you uncomfortable by putting you on stage and not talking to you. A defense mechanism is what people develop and what people do when they're faced with a perceived threat. A lot of us perceive public speaking or just standing in front of people as a threat, and we are uncomfortable with it. And we put up defense mechanisms so as not to deal with it. And that is natural. But buti na lang, there are people like Michael who have a little bit of, a little fewer defense mechanisms than the rest of us. Okay, so Michael, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Michael Rubio. Now, Michael, I have asked you to come up on stage because I want you to improvise with me. He is ready to improvise with me. And just so you all know, I've never met Michael. Never met Michael. And he will improvise with me. Michael, you are a frog.
Frog.
Clap your hands for Michael, ladies and gentlemen. That, ladies and gentlemen, in its very essence, is improvisation. I just told him to come up on stage and immediately you were a frog. What was going through your mind as I came up to you and talked to you?
All right. Oh, my
Bless
voice
you.
is terrible. I apologize.
Very froggy. You're
Yeah.
very much in character right now.
Very much in character. Well, I needed to do something as close to a frog without having to, economy of motion. That's what, because I didn't want to embarrass myself too much.
Right.
So I was thinking food, so I thought of a fly and then just went for it.
There you go. Now, one of the things that I want you to focus on, thank you, Michael, is the motivation that Michael had actually coming in. He didn't want to embarrass himself too much. You were coming from, in a lot of ways, a place of fear.
Well, the best defense, we're talking about being defensive, is a good offense, so I
Right.
want to be on stage.
Right. So his method of resistance is actually attacking instead of avoiding eye contact or anything like that. A lot of the things that we actually do are coming out our defense mechanisms are actually coming out from a place of fear,
Yeah.
from a place of not wanting to look embarrassing, from a place of not wanting to be nakakahiya, from a place of not wanting to look like a fool in front of a lot of people. And usually it is that fear that becomes a block to creativity. And that is why the talk today that I will have is really just focusing on the concept of allowing yourself to be average. Allowing yourself to be average, getting that unstated notion that society has put on you that everyone has to be excellent, everyone has to be number one, everybody has to be inspiring, everybody has to be talented. That's been pounded into you since you were a child. That a lot of us are operating from a place of fear when it comes to creativity and performance. Allow yourself to be average. And really, Michael did that right now by not being all too concerned about being the best frog you could be.
Yeah, not the best.
You weren't overly concerned about winning an acting award by being the best frog that you could be right now. You allowed yourself quite simply to be average and be the best frog you could be. Let's clap our hands for Michael, please.
Thank you.
And Michael, please sit down. Now, I first came across the notion of being average through an improvisational teacher called Keith Johnstone. And Keith Johnstone was a very, very talented teacher. And he observed some actors when they would go through some scenes, and they would exert so much effort into portraying the scenes that they had. There would be facial contortions, there would be physical contortions, just to convey an emotion, just to convey a scene. And he asked them, you're exerting so much effort, but does it help the scene any? Does it help your characterization any? He told an actor, look at the chair in this scene. Does it get any better when you play the scene if you try to look at the chair rather than just looking at the chair? Just do something. Do it averagely. Don't try too hard. In fact, Keith Johnstone said, we only try when we don't trust the forces within us. Each brain organizes a universe out of the electromagnetic flux. No brain equals no universe. So if we have this magical computer inside our skulls and yet feel that we can't draw or compose a tune or write a story or improvise, we must be under some prohibition of some sort. And really what he's saying is that everything that's happening around us right now, all of this talk, where you are, what I'm saying is all just simply electromagnetic flux. Without your brain, it doesn't mean anything. Without your brain, it doesn't make sense. But your brain is that powerful that it is able to process all this electromagnetic flux and make sense of it, make order of it, and make a whole universe out of it. And if the brain is that powerful that it can organize all this electromagnetic flux into something that makes sense, then why is it so difficult for us to believe that we are creative? Why is it so difficult for us to believe that at this moment we can improvise a song? At this moment we can improvise a story. At this moment we can make people laugh. We can make people cry. We can create something totally out of nothing. And it is this prohibition. It's because ever since we were children, we were told to be excellent. We were told to be number one. If any of you have attended I have an 8-year-old son, and almost every weekend, I attend a soccer tournament with my son. And truth to tell, the kids love soccer, and they're having a lot of fun. But the most worrying and the most scary part about the soccer tournament is actually the parents. The parents are cursing at the top of their lungs. The parents almost get into word fights with each other, almost fist fights with each other, just so the kids who are 8 years old, who just want to have fun, win. The kids, more often than not, they couldn't care less. And yet that is the environment that we all breed our children to be in, this competitive environment. People are hardwired to try hard. Think about that statement right now. Try hard. Trying hard. In my youth, there was an actress called Sherry Hill who, in one of her famous lines, said, "You are nothing but a second-rate, trying hard copycat." And really, as a child, I understood that second-rate is a bad thing. I understood that copycat was a bad thing, notwithstanding what some senators do. But trying hard, I could not fathom why that was a bad thing, because all our teachers said, try hard, try hard. But it came to me that trying hard is a bad thing when I started doing theater, when I started watching theater, watching actors, when I started directing an improvisational group called Spit. And I would get people applying to be actors. And I found out that the worst actors, the ones that do really, really awfully in improvisational theater, were the ones who, when they were children or when they were growing up, were labeled as comedians, funny, the life of the party. I found them insufferable and incapable of doing improvisation. And then I realized, what is it that I look for in an improvisational actor? And I came up with this list, really. An improv actor, more than anything else, that more than standing out, an improv actor must master first how to blend in. More than being quick and witty, must learn first how to listen and be comfortable in silence. More than being unusual and unexpected, must embrace first the everyday and the ordinary. I found that actors who are more interested in delivering a punchline, delivering a joke, getting the audience's attention, were the most difficult to work with in collaboration to make a scene. And that is the essence of improvisation. Improvisation actors mount a stage without a script and build from an audience suggestion, scenes, songs, musicals, games, you name it, just on the basis of one suggestion. And it never works if there is one person who believes that he is God's gift to creativity and innovation. It only works when both actors come on a stage with a willingness to listen to each other, with a willingness to build off each other and take it where it goes. That's the only way improvisation works. We call that, in the improvisation world, the law of yes and. And it states that as an actor, if I come into the stage and I declare to my co-actor, Mother, our house is burning. The co-actor whom I talk to in that scene has the obligation to say yes to the fact that yes, I am his mother, actual sexual identity notwithstanding, and that the house is burning. But I don't just say that. I just don't say, yes, son. I add on to it. That is my obligation as a co-actor in an improvisational scene. I say, the first actor comes in and says, Mother, the house is on fire. The second actor must yes and then say, yes, anak, and your father is in the house. Immediately, just by following the rule of yes and, you create, you build, and you're doing it while staying average. I didn't come in and say, mother from the alien mother from the planet Centauri, our satellite is bursting. It becomes immediately unusual, unrelatable. Perhaps I will get poggy points or plus points from you by being so witty and so intelligent and all that. But what does that leave my co-actor? My co-actor would probably react, duh? What? Improvisation is about staying average, being willing to build off each other, and trusting that this building off each other, the process by which you do it, helps make genius creative breakthroughs. Improvisation is against the myth of the creative genius. We don't believe that creativity, breakthroughs come from this great big genius who has all the ideas and is uber talented and all of that. We don't believe that. Perhaps people like that come in only every 50 years or so. What we believe, though, is that we can trust the process, trust collaboration, trust that in being average and yes, ending each other, we can create something truly, truly breakthrough, truly, truly creative. I'd like to end with a quote that I actually found on Tumblr, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's by this fellow named Tyler Not Gregson. And he said, "Promise me you will not spend so much time treading water and trying to keep your head above the waves that you truly forget how much you have always loved to swim." And sometimes we are so focused on the creative process, on agonizing through mental blocks and creating things, that somehow we forget the pure joy of creating and allowing yourself to let go. Allow yourself to be average, folks. And finally, you guys are all frogs. Thank you very much.